I wish they would make another Harvest Moon game already. I get tired of playing the same ones over and over again.
What if I told you they are releasing a new Harvest Moon game?
Who said that?
It's me, Nina.
Wait, really?
Yeah, well, kind of. It's more like a remake.
Oh, well, I don't mind a Harvest Moon remake. It'd be nice to play something on the Switch. Which game are they remaking?
Well, I'm glad you asked. Harvest Moon, Skytree Village, and the Lost Valley are getting a remake for the Nintendo Switch in a cozy bundle.
Oh. Of all Harvest Moon games, it had to be that one? I'd rather just play it on my DS then. Let's talk about it. Hi everyone, welcome back to my channel. My name is Nina Gabriella, and we got a lot of news to talk about today. Have you seen the new announcement? They are remaking Harvest Moon, The Lost Valley, mixed with Skytree Village. Yeah. Should I be excited? You tell me. If you've seen some of my previous videos, I'm a person who absolutely, wholeheartedly loves Harvest Moon games, and I don't know how many times I have to say that in a Harvest Moon video, but I just need to know that my passion is there. I love mostly, all of the Harvest Moon games, so when I criticize a Harvest Moon game, even it hurts my soul a little bit, okay? Ugh. Now, if you watched one of my older videos, I had talked about some of, well, in my opinion, some of the worst Harvest Moon games. Two of the games that I put on that list was Harvest Moon, The Lost Valley, and Harvest Moon, Skytree Village. And from this big announcement, we've learned that they're remaking both of these games. And by remake, it's more of like a remaster. They're bringing both of these games onto the Nintendo Switch. Now, some of the reasons why I didn't really like that game really came down to story, graphics, so in a way, maybe this might be the revamp this game needs to actually make it better. Which is why I kind of want to break down some of those things today, and things you might want to look out for if you are excited about this new title of Harvest Moon coming out. Another thing I want to talk about is some of the other Harvest Moon games that I really love that this might compare to, in case you heard everything I said here today and just aren't convinced that the remake is going to be any better. And to be honest, I can't blame you. I have my concerns as well. So let's start with a little recap talking about these two games, my previous thoughts on them, and my new predictions being that this game is going to be re-released for the Nintendo Switch. Let's get into it. Before we get into today's video, let's talk about today's sponsor. This video is sponsored by, well, us, me and you. So if you like today's video, I'd really love it and appreciate if you hit that like and subscribe button. It takes me a while to make these videos, and it means the world to me when you hit that button. If you'd also like to join my members channel, I release behind the scenes content talking more about my personal life and things you might want to know next for the upcoming videos. Also, if you care or don't care, this is my new setup. I hope you guys like it. My members saw an exclusive video talking about some of the struggles it was putting this office together, and it's still not complete yet. Right after this video releases, I'm going to be doing a room tour of this office space with my members. I'm also doing a giveaway very, very soon, so you might want to stay updated on that by following my other channels here. But anyways, enough about that. Oh, apparently my monitors agree with me. Let's get started.
Okay, the first game we're talking about in this little series is Harvest Moon, The Lost Valley. This game came out first out of the two games, and it came out for the 3DS in 2014. Now, I've already talked about the plot of these two games in my other videos, but let's go through it for those who might not know. The game starts off with your character hiking through the mountains, where they unfortunately run into some sort of unexpected snowstorm. You find shelter, and then you hear a faint voice. When you wake up, you realize you have to help this little harvest sprite that's buried underneath the snow, and that's how the game begins. Once you help out that little harvest sprite, he tells you that all the seasons except for winter have vanished from the valley that you're living in. So to return all 4 seasons, you need to help all the villagers, including the harvest sprites and the harvest goddess and even the harvest king of the underworld, to return the seasons. This trope of saving the life in Harvest Moon isn't something that we're unfamiliar with. I think it's more of just this sort of new sort of system that they have with the terraforming, which is kind of like a Minecraft concept that they introduced in these new Harvest Moon games. While this game wasn't rated super poorly online, there was a lot of issues when it came to this new style of farming, at least in my opinion. You see, the concept of terraforming was something kind of new in the Harvest Moon series. You had never seen this really in the older games, so to some people they were really excited about this, other people really didn't like it, but I think this is what kind of shaped these two games for being their kind of own entity of this whole terraforming system. Like in most Harvest Moon games, you're going to be doing a variety of farming, ranching, mining, woodcutting, fishing, you name it. But I think what made this game really unique, and I don't know if that's in a good or a bad way, is that there was a lot of differences in this game than there was to some of the older Harvest Moon games, which is why I think this game didn't do as well as it was supposed to. This was also one of the first games that had been released since the split between Natsume and Marvelous, so there had to be a couple changes just to make sure there wasn't any copyright issues between the split of the companies. But with that being said, some of the things that they changed in this game made it so weird that I don't think people really thought this was the same game. Now, if you're a person like me and has played a lot of other Harvest Moon games, you know there's a couple things that you are really looking for in a Harvest Moon game that makes the Harvest Moon game fun or unique to you. That might be the bachelor or bachelorettes, that might be the community, the personality of the characters, it might even be just the skill aspects of mining and so on and so forth, but the issue with this game as well, I think it lacked, maybe all of those things? Yeah, no, I'm not kidding. You start off most of the game in an eternal winter, so that already is a drag. There's not really a traditional sort of village kind of community system. It's kind of just all in this weird terrain area that you're seeing here, so that's a downside, in my opinion. The controls of this game were really clunky. I understand the terraform is kind of cool and new, but I don't think it was executed as well as they thought it was going to be. To me, I had so many issues with farming in this game, it made this game almost not playable for me. The marriage/friendship system was also a bit odd. You weren't able to give gifts to characters to increase their friendship. You just have to interact with them every day and complete their quests to build up chemistry with them. So, yeah, there goes the community aspect of the game. And I'm sure I could go on a whole list of other reasons why this game was just not the best for me. Now, I want to believe that to make up for some of these issues, they later released Harvest Moon Skytree Village, which helped smooth out a couple of those things that I'm mentioning. Let's talk about Harvest Moon Skytree Village a little bit so you can kind of understand what I'm talking about with some of these things. The next game that's going to be bundled in this re-release for the Nintendo Switch is Harvest Moon Skytree Village, which released for the 3DS as well in 2016. Now, if I'm going to be honest, this game was almost like a direct copy of Harvest Moon: The Lost Valley, but just with a couple better tweaked out things. And then some ever so slightly better art design, I guess. I guess people really didn't like the chibi style, and to be honest, I don't blame them. I think this looks a lot better, don't love it, but, you know, it's better than what we just saw. So, kind of like the other game, you walk into kind of an abandoned land in Skytree Village. Many people used to live here. It was lush and green, but the harvest goddess, her powers gradually waned away, so the land is like parched and dry. Basically like an eternal winter, like we just talked about, but instead it's like an eternal desert, so yay. It's up to the player to revive the 7 sky trees that give the harvest goddess her power, so to restore the life back to the land. What did I tell you? Same game, just a different font. While this wasn't my favorite Harvest Moon game either, I will say this game, to me, was a lot better than Harvest Moon: The Lost Valley. I think they cleaned up a lot of issues, some of those things I had talked about without there being, you know, a traditional village system and you know, do some easier customization things. It really got cleaned up in Harvest Moon Skytree Village. I also don't think this game dragged on as much as the last game did. I think in this game it's a little more fast paced. You jump right into it. You notice that there's like a village area, and you know, it doesn't feel as drab. I think that's just because you aren't stuck in an eternal winter, so I mean that could be the reason. Now, a lot of characters that were in the other game are in this game as well, along with a couple new characters. There also are a lot of DLC things which are all going to be included in the Nintendo Switch version of the game. DLCs for the last game and this game will both be included in the Nintendo Switch version, so that is nice. You don't have to go out of your way to buy any extra features for these games. They already will come with the system. Now, while I've said a lot of downsides about some of these games, I do think that there is a plus sides. Terraforming is something that had never been seen before in the Harvest Moon series, so I think it's really interesting that they tried this. I think it is better executed in something like Minecraft, but I do think for people who liked those kinds of games, Harvest Moon definitely tried something new, and it's something that some people are very interested in. So I think you really got to give them some credit for trying this at least, because I do think this is something that a lot of people could get into if they could just clean up some of the, glitchy aspects to it. In this game, I think it's a lot more fleshed out. In the other game, not so much. While I'm speaking a little more positively about Harvest Moon Skytree Village, I will say I don't think this is, well, the best game either. There is still a lot of things that needed to be more fleshed out. I think the game visually appealing isn't as well as I thought it was going to be. I think the storyline itself falls a bit flat, and I think the characters themselves lose a lot of personality. And I've mentioned a lot of these things before, so definitely check out that other video I had talked about if you want to know more of my gripes about this game. But speaking on a more positive front, I do think this game provides a lot of insight of what Harvest Moon can be, and I definitely think it started with these games. These are great games to see how Harvest Moon just became what it was, and it definitely can be seen more in Harvest Moon Skytree Village because it provides some of those things that people had been looking into expanding with the farming system. Unfortunately speaking, I did not play a lot of either of these games just because of some of those things alone. And, even when making this video and having had played this game again, I really just put it down after I was done with it. So I will say, just be on the lookout when it comes to this game about whether you really want this or not.
Whew, I know, that was a mouthload. Now, we've kind of talked about some of my likes, dislikes about the previous games, but let's talk about some of the predictions of what I assume is going to potentially make the game better. Cross my fingers, because in my opinion, I want all Harvest Moon games to be amazing. So if they can make this one just a tad bit better, I'm gonna take it, okay?
Now, while I'm not going to be running to the stores to get the new Nintendo Switch version, I do think that this re-release provides a little bit of information about maybe some people's love for this game, on top of the fact that maybe they're actually going to clean up some of the issues I had with this game. Hopefully that being the graphics, the clunky terraforming system, the things that I really actually had issues with. Now, granted, I guess they can't fix all the issues I had with, storyline, bachelors, and so on and so forth, but if they could at least make the game easier to play, then hey, I wouldn't say I wouldn't not get it, but I wouldn't say it'd be the first thing on my list to buy. You see, I think another reason why people fall in love with Harvest Moon games is because of the freedom and the ability to kind of do what you want at your own pace. And I think when you add a storyline to a Harvest Moon game, it has to be one that can't really necessarily be rushed. It has to be kind of something that you forget and you think about in the back of your mind. And that's why I think when it comes to them redoing this game, I think they're going to fix some of those issues so you do kind of forget about the storyline, fixing things like the graphics and importing it to a Switch where the console, you might be able to see it a little bit better. I think when you get into the issue of there being just, clunkiness of the gameplay, you start remembering, why am I playing this again? It's not even working properly. Like, if I wanted something a little clunky with that element of leisure, I might just play Harvest Moon Back to Nature. This game came out years ago, but this game had so much charm just because not only was, maybe the controls were a little iffy here and there, but this game had an element of just, you can do what you want. Whereas in these new titles, it's almost like the ability to not play the game as well, on top of there being these hindrances of, oh, you're stuck in winter, oh, the characters don't let me talk to them as much, I can't give them gifts, when you start losing access to the things that made a Harvest Moon game, you start disliking Harvest Moon games. I do want to give these games the benefit of the doubt because I know some people really did like them, but I think there's more that disliked it over ones that did, and I'm in that kind of same dilemma. To me, it seems like another Natsume cash grab, unfortunately, but I will say that for $40 getting both of these games, I don't think it's super bad, honestly. And being that this is going to be a Nintendo Switch port, I think it will play a whole lot better, even with some of the boring aspects that I had previously mentioned. Or if you don't want to get the new port version and still want to try this game out, just buy it on your 3DS, because honestly, even when I was making this game, I found Harvest Moon Skytree Village again for $10 on Mercari. So I will say there are other ways around having had to play or to pay that $40 price. But I will say I do hope it looks better on the Nintendo Switch. I probably will be picking this up just to do another review for you guys to compare the two, and I'm hoping that it will be better. I don't expect, a lot of changes, obviously speaking, but visually wise and, with hopefully those DLC things, I think I can see some good stuff happening from the game. But let me also sway your opinion in there if you are looking for a game that has a similar feel, definitely Back to Nature or even Story of Seasons. Friends of Mineral Town got remastered for the Nintendo Switch, and it looks just absolutely beautiful. I will say it is so nice seeing an old game being redone for the Switch, and you can just see how much time and effort they actually put into it. So if I see something like this for this cozy bundle, I will definitely be praising it for the visuals. They did such a good job on this game. I will say this game can get a little boring also with Story of Seasons games, but it just really depends. This one specifically, I say, can feel a little boring just because there isn't a real direct storyline to this game. It's kind of just live your life, but I mean, to me, it's leisurely fun. I like not that there is, this heavy storyline on the game. It's just kind of something you do in passing, and it makes it a great game. And a thing that is not seen in most Harvest Moon games, you actually are able to pick your skin tone color and your character design. You really don't see that a lot nowadays, so, I gotta give it credit where credit is due. And also I want to throw in there, if you have a Wii, I would also recommend Harvest Moon Animal Parade. I also think it has kind of a similar feel where you're in like a rundown town and you're trying to make it better. And while I don't have any footage of it at the moment, another game, and just write this down if you will, Harvest Moon A New Beginning is another great one that has, again, a similar story of fixing a rundown town. It's two of my very, very favorite games that I think would be great if you are looking into a different alternative than the games we had talked about today. Heck, even Harvest Moon Magical Melody. I think, honestly, a lot can really compare to this game. Harvest Moon games are very similar in a lot of aspects, but they all have their own little charms with them. It's just whichever one you like the best. Let me know in the comments below, what is your favorite Harvest Moon game? Obviously, you guys probably already know mine. If you do remember it, write it in the chat, and I can see how many people had watched that video. But let me know, what are your thoughts about this? Another Harvest Moon game coming out into the franchise is going to be interesting, and by another I just mean a remastered version of an old one, but we love our Harvest Moon, we're holding on to it. I hope that we will see some better renditions of Harvest Moon in the very near future, or Story of Seasons games. Hopefully very, very soon. I'm sure you guys had seen a couple of those trailers talking about some of the new Story of Seasons games coming out, and we will be talking about those as well very, very soon.
Now that you've listened to all of that, what do you guys think? Will you be checking out the new titles? I'm going to be honest, as a person who owns most of the Harvest Moon games, it would be wrong for me to not have one in my collection, okay? But on another hand, I'm just hoping that this game is going to be worth re-releasing versus the millions of other Harvest Moon games they could have released instead of this one. But cross your fingers, let's just hope for the best. Of all Harvest Moon games, I wish they would have just done A New Beginning, because A New Beginning is... Just watch that video if you want to know if you want to know why that's my favorite game, because I love that game more than anything. But anyways, thank you so much for watching today's video. I love to talk about Harvest Moon stuff in the near future, so I hope you hit that subscribe button, and I hope to see you in my next video. Thank you so much, and I'll see you guys later. Bye! Guys, okay, I'm getting my hair done next week, but let's just take in this moment and say, isn't it Papori or Nina from the old Harvest Moon games? Throwback, are we right? I feel like little old Nina or little Miss Papori. I'm seeing it. I'm legit seeing it. I'm gonna go now. I'm hungry and I want a snack. You better get up from that couch right now and go get yourself a little snack. How are you gonna sit through my whole half-hour long video if you didn't get a snack? Anyways, bye!